I'm Natalie Rose, the Vice Chair of Certification Commission of NAMSS and the Director of Trinity Health's NCQA Certified CBO. One thing the pandemic taught us is that we don't know what lies ahead. There are new opportunities, new experiences, and new challenges. Perhaps certification is something that lies ahead for you to prepare you for something down the road, something not even on your radar yet. Preparing for certification really develops your expertise. You learn a lot, and you can use this knowledge to contribute to decision-making conversations with your physician leaders and your executive. This bolsters their confidence in you, and it positions you well for advancement either within your organization or with a different organization. So about a quarter of positions require certification, and 75% indicate that certification is preferred. This tells me it's on HR's radar, and it's increasingly important to carry certification.
I have worked for 15 years in the medical staff services profession. Perhaps I should have obtained my certification earlier?
It's never too late. About a third to a half of certificates attain certification in the first 3 to 5 years on the job, but about a third attain certification after they've been in the field for about 10 years. I have yet to meet anybody who regrets becoming certified, right? It's a badge of honor. I don't think most people realize how much there is to learn. I didn't. How much there is to learn through the studying and prep process. It's easy to come up with reasons not to do something. Fortunately, it's just as easy to come up with reasons to do something. I'd like to encourage each of you to seriously consider pursuing certification.
Hi, my name is Mindy Rogers, and I currently serve as the NAMSS Test Development Chair. So a lot of the times when I meet other MSPs who are interested in becoming certified, a lot of the times they will ask, what can I expect on the exam? I also get a lot of questions in regard to what type of resources to utilize when studying for the CPCS and the CPMSM exams. What I would recommend would be to go onto the NAMSS website and take a look at the candidate handbook. This is a very helpful guide in terms of trying to understand the eligibility requirements, the goals of certification, also who should sit for the examination. So a lot of those questions can be answered by looking at the handbook. So if you go online and go to NAMSS and look at the certification requirements, I would definitely recommend looking at the handbook. Let's take a look at the test development process, from how the question is developed, reviewed, and then presented to you or to the candidate when they sit for the CPCS or the CPMSM exams. Every step within the test development process relies upon volunteer subject matter experts. All volunteer subject matter experts must meet the following criteria when participating in test development events. They must represent various regions of the country, healthcare settings, accreditation standards, and they must be duly certified. These requirements are put into place so that each question on the exam is relevant to the profession and non-biased. Let's get back to the test development process. What is a job task analysis? It is the first step of the test development process. It occurs every 5 to 7 years or sooner if significant industry changes have occurred. The intent of a job task analysis is to identify the required knowledge, skills, and abilities required for an MSP to proficiently perform their job task. The next step in the process is to validate the findings from the job task analysis. The validation process is performed by sending a validation survey to all NAMSS members. Once the validation process is complete, an examination blueprint can be created. Then the next step within the process is item writing. The item review process is one of the final steps within the test development process. This is a step where each question is reviewed and discussed with subject matter experts to ensure that each question is valid, accurate, and adequately represents the profession.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started within the credentialing and medical staff services profession?
Oh gosh, I started eons ago, Mindy. I started as an assistant and was promoted to a coordinator and then a manager. And then I decided to stay home when we started growing our family. And I returned to the workforce when my youngest was in kindergarten. And that's really when I got serious about it. I thought about certification and then became certified and started volunteering in my chapter and my state association and NAMSS. So it's been a journey of growth. What about you?
Well, I started my medical staff service profession career by working as a credentialing assistant. I opened the mail, I stamped the incoming mail with the old ink stampers. And so that's really kind of where I cut my teeth. I learned working with the other coordinators, supporting them. And then like you, I moved up to the coordinator role. And then I started off at an NCQA accredited CVO. So I kind of was fortunate to be able to learn both sides of hospital credentialing as well as managed care.
Let me ask you, I'm working with, we're a growing department at work, so we have people new to the field. It's great when we get somebody who's experienced, but it's not always the case. So we employ new people to the field. And I always think, like, what advice do we need to give them, right? To help them make this their career. So what advice would you give people in your department?
I guess the advice that I would give is that, really communicate to your leadership that you're interested in the profession and growing, ask for various opportunities to learn. And I think by informing your leadership that you're interested in different opportunities, they're going to keep that on their radar and want to help you succeed and to progress in your career. So I think, really by communicating your desires to grow, I think that's one of the first steps in moving forward. What do you typically see when you're working with new folks to the field?
I like what you said. So I tend to go towards start to grow your knowledge, but I like what you said. Convey that you're curious and that you want to learn and grow, because then your leaders can nurture that. So that's great advice. I like it. And then it comes with diving into the activities. So I'm in Michigan, and we have chapters. So you can get involved in a chapter and get to know people, maybe become the secretary treasurer of the chapter, and same thing with the state, all before, it's like baby steps. So I like what you said. Let your leaders know. That's great advice.
That's also a great point that you made in terms of participating with your local chapters and with your state organizations. I know when I first went, there were a lot of educational opportunities that I attended that I probably didn't understand fully what they were talking about, to be perfectly honest, because some of the things were above what I had been exposed to yet. And that's okay. I think that's great to go there, because if out of the 50 minutes of the talk, you walk away with a new understanding from, 20 minutes, you've gained 20 minutes worth of knowledge that you didn't have before. And it's really amazing, because later on, as you continue to do that and you're exposed to different situations, those talks and discussions start to make sense and are relevant to you. And so it's amazing once you go back to those same types of topics and reinforce discussions that you're like, I really do know this. It makes sense, and I can put it into context of how it should be applied at work. So I would say that even if maybe it doesn't make sense at the time, continue going and pushing yourself and learning.
You know, I love the learning myself, and this past spring, our state conference was canceled, of course, like many, because of COVID, and I missed it. So sometimes it's hard to carve out time for our own education, right? There's always something on our desk to do. The emails are always piling up. But maybe a silver lining of the cancellation is realizing, for me anyways, realizing how much I enjoy it and how much I get out of it. Michigan has some great conferences. So many of our states have really great conferences. And just have great opportunities to learn and earn CEs and talk, like you said, talk with other nerds.
I think in the presentation earlier, I think you did a great job at mentioning kind of some of those things that can hold people back. You know, sometimes there are going to be instances of where you will not receive funding from your organization. Not that they don't value that you're certified or that you're trying to pursue certification, but it's just not in their policy to do that. And so I never let that hold me back. I've worked with organizations where that was the case, but I think for that it's a personal investment in my professional development. So that's the way I look at that. And so as far as that goes, I don't allow things to be a barrier. I'll kind of, look at different avenues of how it could work and then pursue that.
What advice would you give someone who wants to become certified?
I would say, just take the initiative to do it. I know everybody who sits for the exam, myself included, was very nervous, even though I had prepared for quite a long time and felt I was well prepared. I always, I think everybody kind of wishes they had more time or are apprehensive about how they're going to do in taking the exam. What was it like for you when you decided you were going to go ahead and take the exams?
A colleague who worked in another organization, and I had been talking about it, and like many people do, I'm not sure how long we've been talking about it, but we went to a chapter meeting. We were walking out, and we together, and I said to somebody, "Oh, we're going to take the exam in the summer," and she said, "Oh, we are." So for both of us, for me, it was telling someone. So once you tell someone, right, you're more likely to follow through. It becomes a goal. So we got together once a month and studied for 6 months and then took the exam. Thanks so much for doing this with me. And I hope the folks watching it enjoy it as much as I have.
Well, thank you so much for participating with this project. It's been great working with you. If you guys have any questions about certification or the test development process, please feel free to reach out to Natalie or I or anyone on the CCN. We have our information on the volunteer leaders page on NAMSS, so feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you and love to have you as a subject matter expert to participate in our test development events. So I just want to say thank you so much, Natalie, for your time this evening.
Thanks. Take care, Mindy.